Here in North America, we just don't seem to have the love for wagons that we once did, and maybe we still should. Why is that? Once upon a time, the wagon was the penultimate family vehicle. It was the 70s and 80s and everything from the Country Squire to the, Buicks, all the big American wagons. That's what we drove in families. And, it was a different time, of course. The kids played in the back cargo area without seatbelts. A different time. But then, of course, wagons got replaced pretty much by the minivan. When Lee Iacocca brought out the Caravan and the Voyager, that kind of made a shift. And, well, minivans, they're also still technically around, but everybody in North America, at least, is all about the crossovers and the SUVs, and we just can't seem to get away from that.
Dad, this is not the car you ordered.
Take it easy, Rusty. Ed, this is not the car I ordered. I distinctly ordered the Antarctic Blue Super Sports Wagon with the CB and the optional Rally Fun Pack.
Most of the wagons that are available today in North America are in the luxury categories. Volvo has been one of the long-handed stalwarts, and what I'm looking at here is the 2024 V90. It's their full-sized wagon, although in their domestic markets, Volvo would call these estates. There's a more popular version, of course, which is the V60, which is the mid-size. And again, there's other competitors around. We've got several options from Audi. Mercedes still has an E-Class wagon. Porsche has taken the Taycan, taken a Gran Turismo. The Panamera had that as well. But again, we just, for the most part, see it in luxury. Personally, I still appreciate a good wagon. And maybe it's because I'm old enough to remember what it was like when wagons were more common, but there's just something that's different about it. And maybe that's why the appeal still exists, and perhaps that's why it's more of a luxury branded thing, because those who buy luxury vehicles probably do it to reward themselves. But again, there's that element of it being distinctive and standing out to a certain degree. And I guess if you have a world of crossovers and SUVs, even at the luxury brand, if you go into your wagons or estates, well, that's what you have. And they're very functional. Wagons have plenty of functionality. They're built on the sedan platform. They're basically cars, except a wagon would have an elongated rear so that you have extra room in the cargo hold, and you've got your lift gate, or you've got a fifth door to access it more easily than you would with a regular trunk in a car. So it operates very much like the crossovers that we are so popular with. It's just more that car profile. In terms of seating and capacity, this V90 being the larger of the two Volvos, they've got plenty of seating room. It's a luxury brand too, and if there's one thing that Volvo does exceptionally well, is they build gorgeous interiors. It's got great space and it rides better. Sometimes you don't like that feel of driving something more utility-like or higher. Obviously crossovers are built as unibodies like cars are as well. And there's a difference between a crossover and SUV, although we're certainly blurring those lines. But wagons just make it work. They're functional, they're easy, they're familiar like cars, yet we just still have a problem with buying them. Is it a case where we're not buying them because they're not making them, or are they not making them because we're not buying them? Either way, it just seems that there should be more of that opportunity to consider it. And there's also the risk that we may see some of these disappearing as well. This V90 operates with still an internal combustion engine. It is the traditional turbocharged and supercharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that puts out 295 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. It also operates as a mild hybrid system. It's got the 48-volt mild hybrid. If you want to learn about mild hybrids and Volvos, I did a special video on that alone. So depending on how you're watching this, you'll either see the link come up right now, you could follow it, or at the end in the suggestions, you can take a look at my explaining mild hybrids for Volvo. But that's how it works, because Volvo has committed to being completely electric by 2030. And so at the moment, they have no vehicles in their entire portfolio lineup that are gas only, and they kind of get away with it by adding the mild hybrid system. But with the V60, you do have a plug-in hybrid version, so you are getting into electrification there. In fact, even more special, the V60 also has their pull start engineered, so you've got a performance plug-in hybrid. That one's a lot of fun. In fact, I reviewed that one as well, so you can check out that review when you're done here, after I stopped wondering about why we're not having wagons much anymore. With Volvo, another worry is whether they're going to continue with building estates or wagons when they make that full switch to electric. Right now, all we see in Volvo in their full electric portfolio is the XC40 Recharge, and it's cousin, the C40, that's available today, but we've also seen, and we will see on the roads later this year, their brand new compact electric, their entry level, the EX30, as well as the EX90, which is the full battery electric equivalent or perhaps replacement of the very popular XC90. What we haven't seen so far is any necessary commitment or indication that in their completely all electric lineup by 2030, they'll still maintain the estates and wagons. I'd love to see it. I think there's a great case for it, and I'm hoping that Volvo sees it too, because even just by the mere fact that it's unique enough, there's going to be a market for it. The Taycan does exist as the one and only electric sort of wagon per se, the Taycan Gran Turismo version anyway, but we need more, and I hope Volvo, I'm asking you now, please make sure that when you make this 2030 switch, you do include an equivalent V90 or a V60 so that we can still say there's all electric wagons or estates in your portfolio. In non-luxury, there still is a popular wagon, although they don't call it a wagon. Everybody knows that the Subaru Outback really is a wagon, but if you see it in Subaru's marketing material, they'll call it a crossover SUV. Why? I don't know. It's like you're sort of hiding a fact that it really is. Everyone knows it to be, and it's quite capable. That's one thing that wagons tend to be. Even with the V90 here with Volvo, they used to have several trims. They had, your sort of inscription, your more luxury, and you had like the R design. Nowadays, it seems the only one available is the Cross Country, which again is sort of designed to be more capable. You look at the V90 compared to some of the older V90s, and the V60 it has as well. In the Cross Country, you've got a bit of a higher ride height, and you're looking at something that would be more than capable on country roads, cottage roads, such as where I am, and that's part of the appeal as well. The Outback certainly does that, but again, we don't want to call it a wagon. They call it a crossover. There may be hope yet, because even though they're not calling it a wagon, we do see a brand new model coming out that, look, when you see it, it's a wagon. I'm talking about the Toyota Crown Signia. Now, the Toyota Crown, of course, is a signature historic nameplate for Toyota worldwide, but it's been absent from Canada for many, many years. And in 2023, they introduced the Crown Sedan, and now they've got the Crown Signia, which will be as of 2025. And if you look at it, it looks like a wagon, but if you see the material, it's a crossover. It's an SUV. It's still not. But still, there's that slight bit of hope that maybe they're realizing there is the benefit of being somewhat distinctive yet functional. So what about you? Do you still enjoy wagons? Do you have one? Would you love to see more? How are we going to convince North Americans to get out of this addiction to the crossover? How do we show that there's other ways we can be practical and versatile? And you know what? With these vehicles being less heavy, there's probably a sustainability argument to be made. If we go electric, we probably don't need the same battery size as we would with an equivalent crossover. So that's a good sign as well, or a good reason to continue. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Put them in the comments. Let me know. Share this around with other people who are wondering, where did all the wagons in the States go also? Maybe we can put enough pressure on all the automakers to bring them back again, and we can keep the pressure on companies like Volvo to maintain that even as they transition all the way to all electric. If you're like me and you want to talk about this some more, if you want to get more people thinking about it, or automakers considering to build more, like this video and share it with others. If you're not subscribed to my channel right now, the Novak Report, it would be a good time to do so. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And if you are subscribing, make sure you're ringing the bell so you get notified of every time I upload something new like this one. Thanks for listening to me, everybody. I'm Eric Novak. We'll see you next time.